Okay, real quick. 10.0.5, what does it mean? What's coming? 19 big and lesser known features about 10.0.5. That's what we're getting today. That's what the reset's about. Let's check this video out, and then we'll get into some Razgeth polls. Let's do this.
Welcome back. So, 10.0.5 is almost upon us, and today I'm going to take you through everything you need to know, including the big features and also some of the lesser known ones. First up, the trading post. We've already covered this.
I think we got plenty of time for polls. We'll see how progression goes, but I don't think an extra, 20 minutes of polling is going to change anything.
In length, but the TLDR
More
is
polls,
that
better
it is
chance
a
before
monthly
killing.
rotating vendor.
We'll see.
It uses a currency called Trader's Tender. If you have Dragonflight on your WoW account, then you will get 500 Tender a month just by locking
trading post, yes.
Now you can earn
Major
500
feature.
more by doing tasks, objectives, and then this can all be redeemed for various cosmetics. Now, you can see this bar of essentially your progress through the various different things you can do. If you fill that up,
I wonder how much we're going to do this
you
thing.
get an additional monthly reward.
Probably
at the
depends on
end.
their monthly
First
rewards.
one being a pretty cool looking mount. Now, being monthly, it does mean that this system kicks off 1 week after the patch drops, meaning the start of February,
okay.
with the shop rotating every month, though...
Okay, so the trading post won't go live today. It'll go live next week.
Gone forever. They will eventually rotate
Comes out
back
February
in.
1st,
But if there is something that you really do want to buy but cannot afford within any given month, you can freeze one item.
Man, some of these mounts, these store mounts are pretty cool.
Once the month ticks over. So the TLDR is do stuff, earn cosmetics.
There you go.
From what I can tell thus far, the pacing of the objectives does not seem slow at all, and they cover
Man,
a wide...
I'm not going to lie. The Alliance trading post looks so much better than the Horde one. It's kind of fucked.
Host of gameplay activities, so many of us will actually fill these out as we play the game normally.
You could just buy them from the store, so what's the point? Well, I'm not spending money.
Including really neat things like
I think it's just a fun thing to do on the side.
Void Light Shield that certainly does get me thinking about
really cool.
The lore and if it's some sort of hint about something. And hey, while we're talking about the post, why not check out today's sponsor? Squarespace.com/Bellular Gaming.
There you go.
They are the easiest way for you to build your web presence
money?
quickly. And if you want to stand out, you have got to check
One
them
shot
out.
for sure. Thanks.
2023 will be a
Fingers crossed.
massive year for what I'm doing here. And I know I want to hire people. I know there's a bunch of goals that I have. And part of achieving those is going to entail looking professional. I mean,
there you go.
I don't even have a corporate website that I can link people or brands to. So that's my next challenge, but with Squarespace, I know it would be simple. I mean, hell, here's LinusMediaGroup.com. It's a Squarespace site. We're almost a small version of LTT, but for World of Warcraft, so it's nice to know that Squarespace will even fit their needs as a larger organization for this.
Linus rolls in the dough.
And really, me and my crew, we're here to make videos for you. So Squarespace's incredibly intuitive editor, it lets somebody like me get the task done, instead of having to go through the time-consuming
with the Riz today. Yes, we're gonna do it, man. We're gonna go for it
from scratch. It is such a value add to what I do. So whether you're perhaps on my side as a business, or perhaps you're an individual and you want a kick-ass portfolio that'll help you win clients or impress prospective employers, or maybe you're someone who wants to spin up an e-commerce thing or a membership side hustle, Squarespace.
Maybe you're a streamer that wants his own site.
Squarespace.com/Bellular Gaming for a free trial where you can build your site
Squarespace.
and then send it live with 10% off an annual plan.
Bellular Gaming promo code.
Gaming. Right, solo shuffle, but even if you're not a PvPer, definitely listen up because there's a policy change that could
I'm not a
lot of us.
PvPer.
So, solo shuffle does have some changes. There's a more clear warning about the penalties of being a leaver, and in matches with levers,
they have penalties
rating
for being
will
a
be
leaver?
calculated per round, so that should help. Your MMR, for matchmaking purposes, is actually displayed on the scoreboard, giving you a better visibility into the sorts of players that you're actually playing against. And then most importantly, people who excessively leave matches can have their accounts actioned on for exploiting game mechanics to the detriment of the game environment. So yes, basically, if somebody decides to be a leaver and troll a whole bunch of matches, and that's a pattern of behavior, so they're disrupting other people's game experience quite a lot over time, then they can be suspended or banned. Now, if Blizzard is willing to do that here, then surely the same principle should apply to other parts of the game. I would think specifically Mythic Plus, where
it's
one
about
person
10.0.5.
can just brick a key out
the patch
of
that's hitting today,
and flat out grief people. So that not only do they waste the time in that dungeon, but because their key will deplete, they then have to go and do another dungeon to upgrade their key again.
True.
So I've got to wonder if Blizzard are content to establish this here. What about other aspects of the game? And also, will they have the actual resources to enforce this? I'm not sure, but I think that's all pretty good. And a final PvP note, War Mode can now be toggled when in Valdrakken. So
that's nice. That's actually nice. I've been wanting to... This feature has been needed in the game for quite a while. Make it part of the hub city.
Okay, the Revival Catalyst. It's been renamed for some reason and arrives on patch day.
Oh my god, so it has been renamed. You know, I thought I was tripping for the longest time. I was like, where did Revival come from? Has it been called this the entire time? Why don't I remember this? They changed it. I knew it. I was like, what the fuck? Where did Revival come from?
It's been renamed for some reason and arrives on patch day. It's over in Tierhold.
That's going to be a big thing for us progressing on Razageth. If we don't get the kill today, you go to the Revival Catalyst and fucking upgrade your shit to tier gear. That's going to be huge for the raid.
It comes with a weekly quest.
Yeah, everyone getting their 4 set is going to be a big deal.
And when you earn a charge, that will be for every character on your account, which is really good. So essentially, do it in your main. Your ults also get a charge. You don't have to worry.
So next week we can all get a charge.
6 charges at once.
We can all get a charge next week, get that gear, and then if you're 3 set, you'll go to 4, and if you're 2, you'll go to 3.
And unlike the creation catalyst of Shadowlands, no additional currency is needed beyond having a charge. So back then, we had to farm up some Cosmic Flux.
I had so much Cosmic Flux, it was ridiculous.
To use the catalyst.
I used to just upgrade shit for transmog purposes.
Now, this quest is just completed by doing seasonal content, which means dungeons, raid bosses, events like the Soup and the Obsidian Citadel, and also Primal Invasion rares, which is really good because it means that the more solo-oriented people who just want to do things in the world, they can actually progress through this and earn themselves that tier appearance.
Dragonflight is filled with options.
All Season 1 gear is eligible, but that does not include crafted gear. So you can use Mythic Plus gear, Raid gear, PvP Conquest gear, Epic War Mode gear, and Epic Primal Storm gear. That's the 385 Primal Storm stuff, which I think is overall pretty good. All right, it's a good path for those people. And versus the prior equivalent of the Sandworn gear in Zereth Mortis, I think it's a lot more prompt and, you can just get it a bit faster. So overall, I think this is pretty good. It's definitely a little bit late in its addition. I think it should have been there a few weeks earlier, but that you will at least be able to rapidly get your alts. Some tier, I think, is really, really nice. And also, if you've deleted or vendored Season 1 gear because you thought you wouldn't need it, Blizzard actually did highlight their item restoration service, so you can use that to get those pieces back. Next, the Storm's Fury event. This is not particularly talked about, but it is a new world content feature. So, it happens every 5 hours at the Primalist Future, accessible via the Temporal Conflux portal in Thaldraszus. Rewards for this include Essence of the Storm, which is its new currency, which then you can exchange for 385 rings, trinkets, and necks, a Chasing Storm toy, a loot cache that does actually have a Storm Sigil in it, the Skyskin Hornstrider mount, and Time Lost Vorquin pet. Now, that loot cache containing Storm Sigils is actually decently important. Those are the items that you actually use to purchase that 385 Primal Storm gear that is eligible for the Revival Catalyst. Right now, you can only get so much of that per week.
You could get that 385 then upgraded here.
So between the actual...
But 385 tier gear is what? Like normal?
For this
or is that LFR?
Feature, and then what you will get if you...
I think that's LFR. I think normal's 389.
The NPC, then you'll just have more ways of getting that gear. Now, those caches can also just
it's LFR.
Dragonel's supplies, gold, and a chance of getting a Primalist-themed cosmetic item. The feature is unlocked via a quest that starts in Valdrakken that leads you to Sora Dormi, which I always think is interesting, her being back in this expansion. She is Nosdormu's mate, who, back in Mists of Pandaria, had a rather grim end, be teased, because when using the hourglass that we powered up with the traitorous Kairos Dormu, we end up getting a vision of her death with it implicated that Kairos had something to do about it. Now, obviously, Kairos was killed at the start of Warlords of Draenor, but I've got to wonder... with her coming back,
is this retconned
could
or
they
what?
be slowly building up to something? I certainly wonder. As for the event, 4 portals spawn into the Primalist Future Zone, plus an elemental boss.
Tier
You're
gear
going
from
to have to
Mythic Plus.
disable
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
that's the
portals by
best.
killing
Get it
the
from Mythic
mobs,
Plus and then
capturing
upgrade
the
it
portals, almost like it's
to
a PvP
tier gear.
objective, and then holding the portals from waves of mobs. Once all of the portals are secure, the central boss will have his shield despawn, and he can be attacked. Now, do all that while
Sounds like the
managing
Primal Storm
freezing
events.
mechanic by just using the heat sources that are there, and also getting protection from the cold via the new accessories that you can purchase, and yeah, you'll win. The Trial of Style, it is seeing updates with a host of new weapons being available. This is mostly like old stuff that just hadn't been available. Quite a lot of these look
nice.
really, really cool though. Another nice thing is that they're adding
So
a
is
bunch
the
of
staff.
boots and belts, which may seem random, but they're actually there to fill out older tier sets that did not have matching visual appearance pieces.
There were tier
Now,
sets
we've
that
also
didn't have
got
that
some new
stuff.
themes
That's
for
true.
the trial, which are Shadowlands, Gothic Gala, Catwalk, Profession Expression, Bronze Clockwork, Going Green, Blue Skies, Crimson Creations, and Black Magic. So overall, neat stuff. It's nice to see this actually be updated, though I certainly wish
Never
that
done
it
the
was
Trial of
available
Style.
just a bit more often.
That
NVIDIA
sword, yeah.
Reflex, then.
Those
So
weapons look
they didn't
nice.
talk about this in the patch notes, but it is coming to World of Warcraft, as
What is NVIDIA Reflex?
a in-house developed version that will be usable on non-NVIDIA cards. To be honest with you, I do have to doubt that this will matter a lot, but it is nice to have, I suppose. Essentially, it's a bunch of optimizations through the whole, basically, the whole chain that is connected to, like, input latency. That's through, like, driver optimizations and that kind of thing, with there also being additional tools that developers can implement, which seemingly Blizzard have here.
Okay.
Overall, it's just to reduce your input lag, so nothing to do with your internet connection, purely stuff on your machine.
I feel like that matters less for a MMORPG. For an FPS, sure, but for a WoW, like, does shaving off another 0.001 millisecond of click time matter?
This is available if you've got a 2000 or beyond series NVIDIA card. If so, then open up the
I've got a
NVIDIA
3080
overlay,
right
click
now.
in the gear, find
So I
HUD
can do
layout,
it.
then performance, and then turn on the Reflex Analyzer. This basically is an addition to the NVIDIA, like its little performance analyzer thing, and it'll give you a breakdown of your latency. So if you bring that up and then toggle the reflex settings, you'll be able to see whether it helps you out or not. Rares then. These actually ended up being a bit of a surprise hit at the start of the expansion, which means it's nice that Blizzard are actually adding in some nice
The rares
updates
have been nice.
here. First up, a bunch of new rares have been added to the elite areas of Nokudun Hold, Umbu, Cobalt Assembly, Primalist Future, and Tierhold. Now these rares drop up to 385 gear, which is right up there with what the community's been calling super rares that were discovered
Yeah,
in
the super
first week
rares.
of the game's
Remember
launch.
we
So
were hunting
overall,
for those?
Pretty handy for getting the
whole
character
first
started.
week.
385 is just a, I mean, hey, if you've got questing gear, then that stuff's going to be awesome to have.
Yeah, it's cool.
Now, then, other rares that used to follow the 2 per 2 hour schedule now follow
What's
a
up,
1
Dipnia?
every 30 minute schedule. So that's much better, and also they have got more health. That's, of course, so that basically people can have longer to get to them.
Yeah,
Often you would
time to
find
get
out
to
when
them.
a rare respawn, but by the time you arrive there, it's already
It's
long
dead.
gone. So, nice changes. Transmog then is getting a lot of love this time. First up, and this is a bit of a surprise,
yeah.
but it seems that you can obtain the Mythic Sanctum of Domination appearances using the legendary base items from
Do you have PTSD from Shadowlands? Now you can reactivate that PTSD by getting your Shadowlands legendary gear transmogs.
Shadowlands, which shouldn't be overly expensive. Unless you're using cloth, because
I mean,
seemingly
honestly,
cloth
these
doesn't
sets
use the
look
Mythic
good.
Visual.
Shadowlands,
This is very odd, but it is
you know,
mostly
aside.
good. Rough a Sanctum of Domination was, those mythic pieces seriously looked fantastic.
Yeah,
so
they look
I think
good.
being able to get those will be pretty exciting for people. Next then, one of the big ones, white and grey gear is now BOE and can be transmogged. This opens up a whole new market.
All
and a
those
host
starter
of pretty
sets and
amazing
shit.
options, especially for the people
Transmog
who
'em.
prefer more simple looks. And in line with this, starter gear from WoW's past is now available from the appropriate shops in
go.
Stormwind and Orgrimmar.
Get your starter
Then
gear.
a nice bonus that we didn't anticipate is that, well, there's a bunch of old items, right? And they actually didn't have an armor type. They were thus ineligible for transmog.
Oh, I didn't
They've
know that.
now been changed to be cosmetic, so you'll be able to wear those. Credit to the absolute legend and developer of the great add-on Narcissus, Peter Yu, who pointed this one out on Twitter, and definitely check out his work. Okay, those aren't the only restrictions
never
being
go
lifted,
back,
though,
yeah.
because now most items that used to require a profession other than engineering no longer have that requirement. Those that do now only require engineering skill 1 in that expansion skill
so just
line, which
become
means
an
it'll be
engineer and you can wear
exceedingly easy. Like, you literally just have to go to the vendor.
Yeah.
And then the gnomish and goblin engineering restrictions are also gone for your transmogs. Then we've got what's, I think, low-key a massive feature for people, and that is pole arms from Shadowlands and Dragonflight have been adjusted to sit lower on your back.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh my god.
Now, next, I would...
Such an underrated thing. I used to hate how polearms sat so high up on your character. It was like sitting on the upper like back shoulder area, and the thing would stick out like a flag off the top of your back. I can't believe they fixed that. I'm surprised.
like to have polearm animations.
I didn't even know they were doing that.
Really bad, but point here is
I've never
they will no
transmogged for a
longer
polearm
look
because I hate the way
they
they
used
look.
to sit so high in your character's back that for transmog reasons or purposes they just kind of looked ridiculous. So this is much better. Blizzard are going to do this to other expansion polearms, but that's just going to happen as time rolls on. Next then, some old but missed recipes are back. As an example, you can get the heavy scorpid gear patterns from Blackrock Orcs in the Burning Steppes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you've been
Kinda
missing
looks
your
like
heavy
Thrall
scorpid
set.
gear transmog, then now you can have it.
If you want the
More
Thrall
importantly,
transmog on your orc.
This is actually great for loads of people. New recipes for Warlords of Draenor crafted armor sets have been added, and this is fairly big news. So these were removed per Blizzard as a side effect of Shadowlands development. Now, at the time, that felt pretty strange. Now, though, 2 and a bit years later, they are back. I mean, just look at these. I think they're brilliant, especially the plate one.
They're very
People
nice.
love the plate one.
The plate
And
one's
also
great,
with this,
yeah.
There's a bunch of really great-looking weapons as well. I think they're fantastic for people who want a sort of...
Damn, those are some nice shields. Even that sword.
You know, simple faction fitting,
Nice paladin.
but like
I feel like
HD
it's a
and
good
still
paladin
quite
set.
chunky
Shit.
sort of
Yeah.
looking set. So I think they're quite nice. Now the recipes are sold in
Pretty
Ashram
badass
and in
hammer.
Garrison, and to purchase them, you will need these secret tomes of whatever your profession
Mace,
is.
I
These are
guess you should
profession
say.
specific, and they do come from your old profession daily craft, which is Warlords of Draenor stuff. Because yeah, Blizzard were pretty big in the daily crafts back then. Finally, you're going to be able to apply enchantment illusions to artifact weapons, which will, of course, grant them a good bit more
Oh,
customization.
they enabled that and then
Mage Tower,
disabled it
is
for a while.
back, hopefully forever. So Blizzard temporarily removed this because I assume of
Yeah, I
Shadowlands
never did
scaling,
this.
but now they've got it working.
I did
again,
it during
hopefully
Legion,
you
but
like
never
that
did
for
it
good.
again.
I'm certainly excited to hop back in here now that we just have, I think, generally speaking, better, more interesting classes. I just hope that they're able to maintain the old difficulty. Anyway, with this, you'll be able to earn tier recolors from a really, really nice set of tier gear.
Nice.
So that looks fantastic. Also, the Fell Werebear Druid form, and then the
Yeah,
Soaring
that's a
Spell
badass
Tome
one for
mount
druids.
completing all of them. Really great stuff. I think that'll be a lot of content for me, especially because like
Should
quite
be
a few
fun. I might
people
do that
have
on
got a
stream.
new
We'll
name
see.
in this expansion. Class changes then. We do have an entire upcoming video on the state of classes and class changes. The TLDR I'll give you is Blizzard is doing a great job with prompt design iteration, not just tuning. I will leave the class talk for now, though, because we are going to be doing a full, more proper
There's a
deep
lot of
dive,
class changes,
in
a lot of
just
stuff.
a few days. So
Buffs
looking
and
forward to
nerfs
that.
and all kinds of shit.
UI time then. All right. XP bars, equipment durability, bags, and the micro menu can now be adjusted in the edit mode. It's not quite perfect. I mean, fading options and stuff aren't really there, and some things are not scalable, like the XP bar, though at least bags and the micro menu are scalable. So overall, I think add-ons
you can
still
fix
do this
your... I didn't know
better,
you
but
could
this
move your
was absolutely
durability.
vital to be there in the actual official edit mode. Now, one really nice thing with edit mode is that you can use arrow keys to adjust element placement now.
Oh, that's
which is a really
nice.
big improvement. That being said, I would implore
Click to
Blizzard,
move.
Please add coordinates to this whole system, just so we can be precise. It would be dead handy. Then some dragon riding tweaks. These are kind of interesting. So there's landscape
saw
darkening
these.
and a focal circle that have been added.
This
You
is
can
people-
use
this is
these
people
in
get
either
motion
or
sickness.
fashion, and they're both meant to reduce in motion sickness. Same also goes for these new options they've added to remove dragon.
I don't care about
riding's
Mage
visual
Tower. I'll never
effects
be able to complete
that
it.
Just made worse in
Cam, just
accessibility.
wait until
I
you're
quite
so
like
geared.
how they look, but I don't get vertigo or
It
anything,
doesn't
so,
scale with your item level,
yeah,
so
lucky for me, but
you
not
can
for
eventually
everybody.
get geared
So good
enough
to
at
see
the end
that
of an
change.
expansion that it's
Professions
not
then.
hard.
So if you've wanted things like knowledge catch up, then unfortunately you're not going to see that. The changes are welcome, but they're
That's good.
not humongous. So what is happening is that the later specialization unlocks are easier. So professions with 4
And does it
specs
work like
will
that? It does. I mean, getting like a tier set bonus, it does help a lot rather than going in. I remember in Legion, when people first started doing it, it was very hard to do Mage Tower. But then the more geared you got, you know, getting your tier set bonuses and stuff. Tier doesn't work? Well, fuck what I said then.
Lock their final 2 specs.
I do remember in
skill
Legion,
levels
it became
60 and
easier as you got
75,
more geared.
And 3 spec professions.
Like, people
will be
couldn't
unlocking
complete it
their
early on,
final
but then they
spec
did later.
At level 75. I think Blizzard's reasoning is quite clear here.
Maybe not your
It's turned
tier
out
set
that getting
bonus, but I
skill
remember
points
stats
is
fucking
hard,
mattering.
perhaps harder than intended, because there's not exactly an abundance of work orders that everyone can readily fulfill. And on that, Blizzard are actually changing the limits.
Maybe I'm thinking
of work orders
artifact
you can
powers.
fulfill, at least public ones, to
Back in Legion.
4, down from 20. Essentially, they have a problem right now, okay, where work orders are actually being done through the system, but the problem is they are snapped up so quickly that it just kind of looks like there's just none to do. Now, I would also add in here that you cannot guarantee quality via those work orders, the public ones, and that does mean that, I mean, that's especially
Are
rough
people
in a
using
situation where,
that?
say,
I haven't used it yet.
inspiration, that basically crafting crit is relied upon to get the target quality. That definitely is a pain point. That makes me not want to use the public work order system and instead find somebody in trade chat. But again, if I'm finding somebody in trade chat, then
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever
there's going to
nerf
be a
it,
bias
'cause people
towards
like the
people who are
difficulty.
already ahead of the curve. Those people are also the ones who can just readily do all those work orders. So it's just ended up in a situation where I think crafting skill points and knowledge are just not as readily gainable as perhaps Blizzard intended. So these are nice tweaks, but by no means is the work done. And really, that is it. Overall, it is not the biggest patch in the world, but it is
It's a
really nice to
0.5
know
patch,
that the
it
public
shouldn't be.
test realm for patch 10.0.7 is actually going to kick off shortly after this
Wow,
patch
look at that.
arrives.
Blizzard
And
rolling,
while
man.
not a feature
Rolling
of
out the
patch
content.
10.05, it is a feature of Dragonflight that we're just getting quite a lot more patches and a PTR cycle that essentially seems to almost necessitate that whenever there's new stuff in the game, new stuff in the PTR is just on the horizon, which
Yeah.
will help to solve a
That's how
major
it's
issue
supposed to be.
Shadowlands had, which was just massive dead spells, right? Of just absolutely nothing happening.
Keep the
And if
content
there's no
coming,
buzz
and
about
the
the game,
expansion will be
it's
good.
easier for people to forget about the game and wander away. So I think this will be quite healthy for World of Warcraft. And certainly when we look at, say, the trading post feature, that's going to be there for years and years and years, giving people something to do every month. So while
Yeah,
it's
trading
not the
post
most
is cool.
massive
I think it's a
upfront
great
feature,
add to the game.
it, I think, is just going to be one
Man,
of those
that's
low-key
fucking
sleeper
saver.
successes
Holy shit.
over a long period of time. Now, if you're
want
curious
that.
about what is in the horizon, bit out of scope for this video, but I will leave you with what to expect in 10.07, which will be on PTR soon. That is the Forbidden Reaches content. There's going to be a new leg of the narrative campaign set there.
That's right.
As well as a bunch of
It's the Drakthir starting zone, and everyone's going to get to go there.
repeatable world content. In addition to that, Blizzard will be updating some of the in-game holidays, which, again, I think is a good move for the game's long-term health. And then also, Orc and Human Heritage Armor will be added to World of Warcraft.
That's right.
So
Heritage
I suppose
armor.
if you wanted to do some last-minute prep, maybe ensuring you get like your reputation up with Stormwind and Orgrimmar, or maybe getting some of that Primal Storm gear if you want to start using the Revival Catalyst. Those are perhaps the things you could think about doing just over the...
Just another great one.
before the patch comes
Another
out.
great one from
Okay,
Bellular.
that's it for me. I will see you in-game on the 24th of January for this patch. I hope you find things interesting. Hope
No,
this
there's
video
no
helps you out.
10.0.7
With
date
that,
yet.
I'll see you next time.
At least I don't think there is. No official date yet launch for that. Well, guys, with 10.0.5 on the horizon, I think it's about time. It's about time for us to give Razageth some good, hearty attempts before reset. Let's go. Let's get in here. I'm going to post up Q, and we're going to start the ship.